is up, you guys? It is the Lethal Collector back with a different kind of video today. I know I promised you guys a Q&A, and here it is. But before I get to the questions, huge shout out to DXRacer for sponsoring today's video. They sent over their brand new Martian series gaming chair for me to show off to you guys. And honestly, I think they were worried on my posture and how I'm making these videos for you guys, so they made sure to hook your boy up with a very comfortable chair. And I've tried many different chairs in the past, and some were okay, some looked cool, but it just felt like I was sitting on cardboard, honestly, for 30 minutes. But this chair is honestly on a whole nother level. The design is also really cool. I went with the black colorway, and right out the box, I thought it was amazing. The leather's really smooth and high quality. The building process is also pretty easy. It's solid, nothing squeaky, no wobbling. Putting it together took maybe about 2 hours. I did need some help from my sister in little portions, but otherwise it was pretty easy. But yes, comfort is probably one of the most important things that I need, because I'm sitting when I'm, posing, editing, playing games, shooting content. I spend more time in a chair, I think, than I do in a bed some days. But yeah, the lumbar support is fully adjustable electronically. There's a memory foam headrest, and also a electric recline that goes really far back. That's gonna be in handy when I do my top 10 videos, because I'm usually up all night filming those. But yeah, as you can see in the video, it's very easy to put together. I'm putting in the wheels right now, which are buttery smooth. And also the screws that you need come on the chair already, so you just need to unscrew them and screw them back in, which I thought was really cool, because I was looking for the screws, but they were on the thing already. And don't mind my building, because building with one hand holding the phone is really harder than it looks. On the bottom are all the electrical components, where you just literally plug in to each other. Super easy. And I should have known that the bottom panel detaches with magnets. So yeah, it's super easy to put together. That is the battery pack, that attaches to the bottom. And this chair is actually fully chargeable, so you don't need to have it plugged in all the time if you're worried about that. It slides in super smooth, securely, and all you need to do is just plug it in and you're set. This was by far the easiest step of just attaching the, I don't know how to describe that thing that holds the wheels and the chair both together. The connector piece, I guess you'd say. But yeah, screws again were on the chair, so just need to release those, put that back on. Yeah, put the wheels on, and you're basically done. But yeah, here is the chair all built, nice and smooth, black and gold, which is really cool. Here's the magnetic headrest that is very, very soft and comfortable. Martian series stitched on the front, fully electric recline, as I mentioned before. Here it is going backwards. And here on this side is the controls for the lumbar support, fully automatic. My camera couldn't catch it really good, but you could definitely feel the lumbar support. But yeah, thank you for seeing or watching this sponsored portion of the video. If you want your own, make sure to go to the link in my bio, click that link to the DXRacer chair, and use code LETHAL at checkout. Thank you. Off with the most common questions I got. This one is my favorite figure, or more specifically by Nightmare Housen. He asked, if your house caught on fire and you could only take 3 figures with you, which ones are you picking? First of all, God forbid that ever happens, but if I were to choose, I'd say definitely the Mezco Man of Steel Superman, the Mafex Hush Batman, the black version, and of course the amazing Yamaguchi Spider-Man 2.0. Next question is, what got me into figure collecting, or what made me start, and why I continue. Like most, I've loved toys ever since I was a little kid, little tiny person, but I think I never grew out of it. I started seriously collecting when Captain America the Winter Soldier released in theaters, so around 2014. And I continue collecting because to me, every figure is a chance to tell a story, relive a moment, or just connect with a character that really means a lot to me. And of course, one of the most asked questions is, when is the next collection tour? Very soon. I'm almost done with my displays, and I think you guys are really gonna like what I have going on. social media tips and content process is what a lot of people asked as well. When it comes to tips, I don't really have much to say except to just start. Picking up your phone and grabbing your figure is, I think, the hardest part to do. But once you do that, the rest just starts to flow. And most importantly, I'd say not to chase the numbers. Make content because you love the hobby. That's what keeps it fulfilling, at least for me. I've been part of the toy community on social media since 2018, I think. And the passion is what kept me going. Kobio's Born 8947 asks, what goes through my mind when posing the figures? And what tips would I give to make sure poses look natural and like the character? When I pose, I try my best to imagine the character in motion. So like, for example, if it's Spider-Man, I'd imagine him just swinging around and just snapshot different positions or poses that he'd be in certain motions. And regarding tips, I'd say not only to understand who you're posing, like the character, but also understand basic body mechanics. Understand how we move as people and how humans position their bodies to maintain their balance. Another really popular question was, how do I get so many figures? For the longest time, the majority of my figures came from my sister, who's also a big collector herself. These are some of her collection. But yeah, she's also a huge fan of what I like, so she helped me collect until I became an adult and got into content creation. Favorite figure brand, without a doubt, I'd say is Kyoto, Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi, because I'm always able to hit poses I can't even imagine doing with other figure lines. Now, Joshua 3 asks, what's one character you wish you got in a figure that hasn't gotten a figure yet? I'd say anyone from Tron Legacy. I love that movie, but no one has made figures since whenever it came out. Next question is, what would be a figure that you can't stop posing and you always return to? That's definitely the Man of Steel Mezco Superman. That is, in my opinion, the best Superman figure. It's so fun to pose, especially with all the accessories that it comes with. Next question by Motions Zero. Do you use any references for your poses, or are they original? No references for me unless I'm trying to recreate a specific scene from a movie or comic book, but everything else is straight from the dome. Gavin R. Hardy asking a really good question. How long has Superman impacted your life? That for me, I think for as long as I can remember, there was always Superman, whether it was the animated series, Justice League Unlimited, or Brandon Routh's Superman. For every stage of my life, I feel like there's always been some version of Superman there for me to look up to. He's always been there as a constant reminder to be good. And I feel like the older I get, the more I understand and appreciate what he stands for. Next question is, what is the first figure you ever bought, and what's one that has a soft spot in your heart? I'm not sure if it's the first figure, but for sure the one that comes to mind is the old Toy Biz Spider-Man from 2004, the one right here. That one for sure has a major soft spot in my heart. I still have it right here, and hopefully I can give it to one of my kids in the future, maybe. Atomic Bomb 3332 asks, do you collect anything other than figures, like comic books, collectibles, etc.? I accidentally started collecting movie popcorn buckets, which is kind of crazy. I have like a couple, but other than that, I don't have really anything that I'm dedicating collecting time to. But one day maybe I do hope to collect some Blu-rays and steelbooks. Skibbity Ultra Mail asks, what are some of my most recent pickups? I'll just show them right here. Next question, how often do you rotate or organize your collection displays? Probably every time I get a new figure that belongs on a specific shelf, for sure. That's why my collection tour has been taking so long, because figures have been releasing nonstop for the past few months. Next question is, how much do you think your collection is worth? I'd say honestly about 40,000 for sure. Because if you look at one shelf, the Hush Batman stuff, each figure is retailing like 80 to 100. Times that by 14 figures in there. Yeah. And if you take into account all the other shelves and different figures I have rolling around, I'd say 40,000 is right. Alex Lovehall, shout out to you. I know you comment on a lot of my stuff. Appreciate you. He asks, what do you want to make non-figure content? Yeah, for sure. So many things I want to do. I want to vlog, stream on Twitch, review movies on TikTok and stuff. Yeah, I want to do a lot of stuff. Recent Obsession asks, do you sell or rotate figures out in your collection? I'm having a problem where there's no room. I've only sold a handful of my figures in my 11 years of collecting. These days I'm very selective on what I buy. I'm trying to throw away that completionist mentality as much as possible. I used to collect all the MCU movie figures from Marvel Legends. Stopped doing that. I've stopped buying Dragon Ball figures as well, because that's like a major rabbit hole that I can't afford to fall back into. Burst ZG, have you ever gotten burnt out of posing? If so, how do you quickly find your inspo again? All the time. I get burnt out like all the time. Sometimes I take, like days to week-long breaks to get back into it. But usually I watch a lot of movies, so a cool action scene is what usually brings me back to posing again. Gav the Collector, shout out to you. What are your goals with this account? To grow, like everybody, I want to grow. I want to post more consistently, slowly break out of my comfort zone, show my face, explore other forms of content like I mentioned before. And the last question by Juju Poo Poo Collects, why don't you do giveaways? I do giveaways. I've given away, I think, a total of 18 figures. 3 of them are being imports, I think. 2 Mafex, 1 Figure Arts. And I also have a pile of figures right here that I'm planning to give away soon. But yeah, that will be it for my Q&A video, my first one. Thank you, all you guys, for leaving questions for me to answer. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the constant support and all that I do. Thank you, and goodbye.